there is a period of entertainment history I never got into, to be honest. I remember I was kind of there during these days, but was I too cool for it or something? Sort of John Hughes.
The 80s were John Hughes made a lot of huge films, starting with 16 Candles and going from there on to all these. So you kind of graduated to sort of the older kids, whether it was Pretty in Pink or some kind of wonderful.
That stuff never spoke to me for some reason. I didn't. I think the kids that it was portraying, the young people it was portraying, were the kind of people I did not like.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, they had every archetype in it. It wasn't just about like the popular kids. It wasn't. There was always the freak. There's always a nerd. So I always felt like I related because they always had that character in there somewhere that I could relate to. There's always someone in there that was sort of my high school experience or whatever.
Like the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Or they would throw a character in there that was supposed to represent a character that was kind of supposed to be maybe like who I was in high school, but it wasn't. It didn't ring true to me. Like what was the character's name in Pretty in Pink? Was it John Cryer?
John Cryer was the actor. I don't remember.
Ducky or something. He was Ducky, and he was the weird punk rock guy, new wave guy.
Yeah, the new wave guy. Well, I think
they were broad.
They were broad.
I mean, I don't think everyone
just going to these movies and going, "Ooh, it doesn't ring true to me."
Well, I really liked the John Hughes movies. I thought they were really good. I thought they were well written. I love the actors in them. Like there was something about their vibe that I really liked. I feel like I was seeing something fresh in the comedy there that, it wasn't like they lost strong female characters that were kind of in charge of their own destiny, which was nice. And so I wasn't used to seeing that. So for me, I enjoyed it because we had female-centric characters that were doing fun, smart things and stumbling around through romance and feelings that they were getting. And I don't know. It sort of makes sense.
It was like, oh no, don't pick that guy.
Well, you always go for the bad boy first, then you pick that one later. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about a documentary directed by one of the Brat Pack. The Brat Pack is what they were coined. Of
the nice one. Andrew McCarthy was always the sweet one.
Yeah, and but of course the Rat Pack was famous from the 60s with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and that whole crew. So the 80s, the Brat Pack were these young actors, Andrew McCarthy being one of them, Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, Demi Moore, Rob Lowe, Ali Sheedy, John Cryer, Lee Thompson, Mare Winningham, Molly Ringwald. So they were the Brat Pack, and they were hot. And Breakfast Club was a big film that came out, I think, in '84, maybe, or '85. Yeah, that was a big John Hughes film. Maybe a little bit later, I'm not sure. And then there was St. Elmo's Fire, which wasn't a John Hughes film, but it was a Brat Pack film. That was Joel.
It's interesting because that was like Brat Pack as they got older. Right. And I think the reason I couldn't relate to that is I didn't have that many cool hip friends I could hang out with. So I was never like going to the bars and hanging out with all my cool friends. Like that was not happening that was the one I did not relate to.
Yeah, neither did I. I never actually saw that.
Those days. Was I not cool and hip?
You did. I know. I felt friends. I was always on the outside.
Well, I would consider Burk. You were the Rob Lowe.
Yes.
You were probably the Molly Ringwald, maybe a little Ali Sheedy. I was definitely the I don't know who the hell I was. Judd Nelson, maybe.
Judd Nelson was the rebel.
Yeah,
my band played at Club Rio in Atlanta.
It was about the Brat Pack, about sort of they were such a huge thing. In the 80s, they were in all these movies, and a lot of them were John Hughes films, some like it. But they were huge. There's no doubt about it. And if you're old enough like us to remember that, this will be an interesting documentary. If you know nothing about them or just know them as older actors, you'll see what they were as young and how they sort of like took over Hollywood. They were at all the clubs. They were hooking up with, it was just a big deal in that Hollywood world.
They were the Kardashians of their time in a way. They were like everybody was the paparazzi would follow them around and catch them doing things and catch them.
But Kardashians, I mean, these were talented people. Kardashians,
right? Exactly. Yeah,
they're like just rich and famous, but they don't do anything. Where these people are actually working.
Yeah, they were actually actors, and they were good. They were good. Yes. I mean, whatever bad I can say about those John Hughes movies, the truth is they were well directed, and the acting in it was good. There wasn't anybody in there that was that was a terrible actor or anything. They were all good. Their acting was good.
Well, I mean, again, they aren't everyone. They're a certain little depiction. But let's take a look. so we could talk about it, like
Yes.
what this looks like.
Yeah, let's see.
And then we can go back.
And the director was there, so this is not
was a Brat Pack person.
Yeah, there's like visual proof that the guy who directed this was there.
Yes, indeed. All right,
Brats.
All right, so we're ready.
Ready.
And quiet and roll.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. On June 10th, 1985, New York Magazine published Hollywood's Brat Pack. I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. From then on, my career and the career of everyone who was involved was branded to the Brat Pack.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I've never talked to anybody about what that was like. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who was in the Brat Pack. Hey, Emilio Estevez. This is Andrew McCarthy calling you. Hey, Allie. Hey, Demi. Hey, Molly. Let's call Rob. Hello. Judd? Me? You around? You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack for years.
I turned everything down.
How come you're talking to me?
Because you called me. Ooh. It was time that we clear the air on a couple things.
I love your stuff, Bob. Hey, thank you. I hated the Brat Pack for decades.
What a disaster.
If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you?
It really irritated me. They said, what's more important to you, the movie or your life? And I said, the movie, Andrew.
Have you talked to the others? The others, like, again, it feels like a cult or something.
Yeah.
Why did we take it as an offense?
Well,
as opposed to like
the Brat.
Because we were young.
We were afraid we were brats, you know? Are you in the Brat Pack?
I'm Brat Pack adjacent.
That's what I was saying.
I am not in the Brat Pack.
Don't you crush on you back in the day?
You did not, Andrew. No, you did not.
Being in the Brat Pack not only changed all of our lives, it changed what entertainment is. I mean, I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985? I think we could have.
So what are you filming?
Oh, we're just doing this documentary.
What's it about?
Ancient history.
You know, it's the music, that song too.
Yeah.
It's like instantly. It's
Simple
so
Minds.
I'm glad they got that for the trailer
Yeah.
because it's the perfect song for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect.
Well,
It's
Hold on.
pretty, that
My
looks
door.
pretty.
Let me make sure.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Okay, we're good. Okay, go ahead.
That just looks absolutely fantastic. Whether or not I was into
good.
the Brat Pack or not, or those movies, it is definitely a sign of the times. It's like that really speaks to those days in the entertainment industry. And when he said, you know, we're not the Beatles, and he said we couldn't have sold out, you know, Madison Square Garden, or whatever he says. And Rob Lowe says, I think we could have.
Maybe.
And they could have. I mean, if
Yeah.
all of them had showed up there would have been a huge throng of fans to just see what they were going to do, just to see what they were going to say.
I like it too because this feels so authentic. Because
Yeah.
when you know, these were people living in it. It's not like he took this footage and then tried to make it 80s and tried to get that 80s vibe. It's like this is by people who were those people in the 80s. And so you get this really authentic insider view of what that really felt like. Because we never knew, like, we thought they were living their life. Like everybody's like, oh, these guys, they had the glamorous life. And, you know, John Hughes movies are still being shown everywhere. I mean, I think everyone's probably seen them no matter when they were born, you know, because they're just those kind of movies. And yet when you see that, you go, it's the biz, man. It's almost like the biz is a whole different thing from how it's portrayed. You know?
Absolutely.
So I love how he's in there like,
I can't stress that enough. Yeah.
What a great idea.
I love the
great
fact
idea.
that they get together at looks like some beautiful lakeside, you know, Airbnb or something, and they get to sort of air out what they felt about. That's really interesting to me. It's like they get all together, like what they liked about it, who didn't get along with who. You get that sort of inside what it was like to be part of the Brat Pack, you know, 40 years ago, however long it was.
And Rob Lowe has aged like maybe 3 years in all this time.
everybody looks really good. I think. I mean, not to go back on looks, but I mean, everyone's aging really well. You know, they're still very attractive people. And what I love too is when you see them all together, it's like they're teleported back when they were younger. It's like, you did not have a crush on me. You stop it. Like it was so cute to see that energy still existing. And like Demi Moore, they're having that gentle kind of chiding, and you know, there's just, you can tell the chemistry is still there, and that's why it was so magnetic, I think, because these people really did have this core energy and chemistry that made the Brat Pack. It wasn't just like these disparate people who were labeled Brat Pack. It's like they were part of a total like group that worked together that was really synergetic. So, and
they had some, you know, interactive kind of stuff going on, I'm sure, and some issues and some problems. And there was a moment in there where he says something about clearing the air. I think Emilio Estevez said something like, I just want to clear the air. It's like, well, what's, you know, that's a little seed. Now you got to see the movie and find out what happened.
Well, because you always wonder what happened to Emilio Estevez, because he was like, he's Hollywood royalty. He already had a way in, being Martin Sheen's son. It's like he got in this, he did a ton of shit, and then just poof, gone.
Well, he
said, and then he said, I was turning down everything. Didn't want to do it.
And I didn't really think Timothy Hutton was part of that crew, but I guess he was. I never considered him to be part of the Brat Pack. He seemed a little older to me, but I don't know.
He was like a little more sophisticated type stuff, you know, ordinary people type movies. And
John Cryer, Timothy Hutton, and I'm hoping it would be great if they could get Robert Downey Jr. in there, because he was sort of like a little bit on the outside, but a lot of these people, you know, they did Less Than Zero, which felt like this is a Brat Pack grown up. This is what happens to damaged kids from those movies. And so it would be cool to get him in there. I feel like they would have shown him if they got him, but it would have been great if they did, you know.
I didn't see Judd Nelson as an adult, though. I mean, Judd Nelson.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like maybe
they had it calling him, though.
Right.
So if he didn't do it, Brat.
Yeah. Well,
it's Andrew McCarthy calling. You have to say yes.
I mean, it was the kids that hung out together. I think they all hung out together, it seemed like, or maybe that was the press,
the PR doing that.
You know, maybe they were you know, paid to go out and hang out at clubs or those kind of events. I remember because of something that happened, I got invited to some of those parties. You know, those kind of parties that they would
wait. Something that happened. What do you mean?
Yeah, just a long story. You know, being involved in the entertainment industry, sometimes you get invited to parties.
Okay, well, that's not too long a story.
You realize that they're not just it's not just a party. It's a opportunity to get a whole bunch of famous people together. They bring in their own paparazzi and they pose the paparazzi pictures, and they make it look like all these people are, you know, like old friends, and they put this person with that person, and they're like, yeah, it's so fun, we're partying together. And then when the paparazzi guys leave, everybody's like, okay, gone. You know, there's so much of that artifice in Hollywood, and I know
it's all promotion.
It was even more so back then. So I think they might talk about that, how they were put together in, you know, their management was putting them together at parties and situations, and sort of fabricating, maybe even fabricating rivalries and scandal stories, because I know that happens too. They'll people will make these things up, like, let's create a rivalry between these two and a love triangle, and let's make it look like this is happening. And you know,
hey, you know, newsflash, everybody who's out there, Hollywood, it's all fake. All of it. It is all promotion. Every Instagram post is curated to promote something on a celebrity's Instagram.
There is a reason for everything.
It is promotion, and it's not necessarily bad. That's what people have to do to survive here. You have to promote, you have to succeed, you have to show the breast side of things. Like, that's just the way it is. It's just
we're doing trailer reviews.
Here we are.
Here we are doing,
you know.
But
I don't know why we're doing that, but here we are.
But what I liked about this too, there's this underlying, or maybe not underlining, feeling of self-deprecating, like you know, Andrew McCarthy sort of laughing. It's ancient history, so they're going back as older as adults, you know, in their 50s.
I love
and
that
60s,
idea.
talking about what it was like to be, you know, in the spotlight back, you know, 40 years ago. So that's compelling to me. And they're all about our age or so, maybe a little bit older than us or whatever. But
well, I also really like they showed that article, like
right.
That kind of media would be a blip now. It'd be gone.
I know.
That one article changed the entire arena for all of those people. Like Brat Pack now became a thing. It's weird that like they're like, oh, when that article came out, I knew it was over. It's like, one article, you guys? Like, it'd be like 10 articles don't even do that anymore. It's like, now it's just promotion. It's like,
just magazines. But it looks really fun. It's coming on Hulu. I don't know it doesn't give me a release date as for when it's going to come on. So I'm guessing soon, but I don't know.
It does look really fascinating. To me, it's just the workings of the entertainment industry itself are always fascinating to me. Even though I work there, I know what's going on behind the scenes on a ton of shows and movies right now, and for the last half chunk of my life. But it still fascinates me how the machine works, and to hear about how it worked back then too, and it's probably very similar to the way it works now. But like you said, no, it doesn't have that element of social media that you know, it's going to be totally different because of that lack of instant updates, you know.
Yeah. Yep. It looks cool. Brats.
Looks good.
I'm gonna, if you have Hulu, check it out. I think it'll be a really interesting, fun, funny.
Yeah.
Really good. Heartbreaking.
Look at the big 80s, as they say.
Probably funny too. It looks like there's going to be a lot of funny stuff in there, though, because they all seem like they're smart. They're all like, none of them are like embarrassing, tragic nightmares, you know, as far as I know. But they all look like, wow, okay, they survived. They're well adjusted.
Let us know your favorite Brat Pack movie.
Yeah.
What do you think how this movie looks? Who is your favorite Brat Packer?
Who's your favorite brat?
Is that what they're called? Brat Packers? So let us know your favorite one. I
know yours is, Kathy. I know yours.
Ringwald, but I don't like that she kind of turned on John Hughes later. But Andrew McCarthy was a good voice. I liked him. Yeah.
I thought I was going to go with Andrew for you. For me, it was definitely Molly Ringwald.
But yeah, she's awesome. Yeah. She's great. All right.
All right, y'all. Take care. See ya.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.